much.
Thank you.
So this is really good. Now, without further ado, I'm going to introduce Gene Claseman, and he is going to give you a program on something very scary, AI.
I think that's much. But we can have that conversation afterwards. Guys, what are we doing here? No, what we're doing here, what are we doing here as a species? We're trusting something that we have created that's capable of making decisions that we have absolutely no idea how. Who here knows how AI works? Anybody here know how AI works? That's a fair question. Nobody on the planet knows how AI works. Think about that for a second. We understand the calculations that go into an algorithm. An algorithm is applied towards a large language model, LLM. Large language models is all the information on the internet, all the information collected from the users, all that put together, and apply that algorithm to a LLM, and it spits out an output. But we don't know how that algorithm gets from the point that you prompted it to the point that it actually gives you the output. Now we can improve the performance of a large language model. We can incentivize it to give us the right output based on our desire. And that's why you keep getting these new revisions of GPT 5.4, 5.5, 5.6, Opus, all these different revisions. They're just improvements upon the same model based on the input of the users. But nobody knows how this works. That's just scary. We have diverged as a species. Everything that we've created today, from the wheel to fire to skyscrapers reaching up into the skies, we know exactly how each one of those things are put together and how it works. But now we have created something, but we don't know how that works. Now the idea of this is not to scare you into not using it. The idea here is so that mentally you guys are drawing a similarity. If there's parity between our understanding of AI and our understanding of human brain. Because we don't understand our own human brain. There's parity between our understanding of AI and our understanding of human brain. Then the same logic should apply on how we use it in the workplace. Everybody looking? By the way, my name's Drew Paul. I'm from Maxet Beach, Florida. I don't know if that really matters in this case. This is not CMCA credit. I was asked to do this, and I've enjoyed it. I've learned a lot from this process. Everybody read the screen. Pretty much. I probably won't read every one of them, but I will be sending this out to people who want a copy of it. Before we go any further, it's important to note that this entire presentation is made by AI. I didn't create a single slide. I didn't write any of this things. I prompted it, spat it out. And as I was preparing for these presentations, this being the third one now, I thought to myself, I would be doing everybody a disservice if I were to go through each one of the slides and correct the errors that the AI naturally makes. If the underlying thesis is that we can use it to improve our efficiency and use it to speed up our execution, but we can't trust the end product, well, if I gave you a perfect slideshow, I'd be lying to you, right? So while we go through these, you can read it, and I will read out some of them. Let's play a little mental game. Let's see if we can pick out all of the errors. There's formatting errors, there's spacing errors, there's some things I want to talk about. Don't even correlate with what I'm saying, but I'll let you guys pick that out. We're going to be good at time, Lisa? I assume so. Yeah, you guys are good to hang out with me a little longer if this goes past the normal time? Because I'd like to be able to use a Q&A afterwards. So in 1889, Thomas Edison said, fooling around with alternating current is just a waste of time. Nobody will use it or those in construction, you guys, electronics, you guys know alternating current versus DC. Okay? Boy, was it wrong. In 1902, Erasmus Wilson, the Pittsburgh, with ordinary walking, bicycles, streetcars, trains, people have plenty of ways to get around. The horse's carriage, otherwise known as the automobile, will never come into anything like general use. It was wrong as well. And this was the final. So Time Magazine said in 1966, remote shopping, while entirely feasible, will flop because women like to get out of the house, they like to handle merchandise, and they like to change their minds. Now, I can think of another joke other than the fact that if this was baseball, it'd be really good, but a 3-3 batting average. We got 1 out of 3 right. You guys decide which one of those 3 is the same today, as it was in 1966. So, what is the underlying CAM question? Can it help us? Absolutely. And I'm going to show you some high ROI ways that it can help us. Can it decide for us? Absolutely not. There's always going to be the underlying duty of care. And we're going to go over some extreme examples of where that goes horribly wrong. So the human advantage. AI will keep getting faster. It's getting faster every day. Guys, seriously, I stay on the cutting edge of this because the onus is on me as one of the founders of the Maxet Group to lead the way to understand exactly how it's impacting our business, how my staff can use it to set themselves apart from their peers, but also the pitfalls of it and how we can get into a lot of trouble by not using it wisely. It is moving faster than I'm comfortable with. There are days when I wake up and my agent, we're going to go over agents, tells me the developments that occurred overnight, and it completely changes everything that I know as of that day from the week prior. It's just, there's no catching up. And I don't want to say that to discourage you from using it, because you're going to learn you don't have to be on the bleeding edge to take the most advantage of what AI provides for us today. So the CAM who's going to be able to stand out from their peers is the one who's going to know how to question it, verify it, and apply sound judgment, important sound judgment, before anything reaches a board member, an owner, or a vendor. Remember, CAM owns the duty of care. As of May of 2025, already over a year old, CAI did a survey. They said that 65% of managers are actively exploring AI in daily operations. How many managers here are actively using it on daily basis? At that same time, 54% of management firms had no formal corporate AI policy. I don't know if we have any other company founders here or independent managers, but I highly encourage you to establish a formal AI policy for your associations. That could be literally done by AI. Seriously, we're going to talk about that. And then at that time, 63% of the managers actively worried about data privacy, and that should be heading out at 99%. Everybody should be worried about the data that we're putting in and what's happening to that data. There is an illusion of choice as it relates to CAMs. Now we're going to be doing this in Central. There's a little word cloud in front of it, though it's not even, I would say it's not even 10% of the number of possible options you have available to you. You can literally, you can lose a lot of sleep trying to try out every one of these models that are readily available. A lot of them are free to use, and there's reasons why they make these things free to use, because they're collecting the data on how we use it, and they're actually using that data to improve it. For the purpose of community association management, I'm going to advise everybody in this room to use the service that comes with whatever cloud ecosystem you're using. So if you're on Microsoft, you have Microsoft 365, you're going to have Microsoft Copilot. If you're using the Google Workspace, you're going to have Gemini. Use the Gemini. Yes, you can use ChatGPT. There's nothing wrong with ChatGPT. ChatGPT is capable of connecting to both Google Workspace as well as Microsoft 365. The only thing that I would caution you about is that everybody is playing nice right now. And I say that relatively speaking because they do have, background tips, but everybody's playing nice. ChatGPT is playing nice with Anthropic. Anthropic's playing nice with DeepSeek. Everybody's just exploring the market right now. But at any time, if you're invested heavily into ChatGPT and you're connected to your Microsoft 365 package to get data, at any time they can cut you off, and then you're just back to square one. So when it comes to what we do on a daily basis, I would stick to those ecosystems. Free AI tools, they're easy, but they're risky. So ChatGPT is really, that's available. Gemini is from Google, Claude is from Anthropic. Perplexity is the generation one. really, I wouldn't use it for our purposes. Meta AI, just don't do it. Facebook already has too much of our information. Doing Facebook and Instagram and let's say WhatsApp now, they have too much of our information. There's absolutely no value in using Meta for our purposes. Just don't. And then you have Copilot Free, which is plugging every Windows computer out there. It's important to draw the distinction between Copilot Free and Microsoft 365 Copilot. Just you have an Office subscription, make sure you're logged in, and that's the Copilot that you want to use, not the one that's attached to Microsoft Edge. So conversely, again, like I said before, private AI, managed workspaces, M365 Copilot. And it's going to say M365 on it. You have Gemini Workspace, and in between you have ChatGPT Enterprise. They're connected between the two. A lot of people don't realize when you're using Microsoft Copilot, you're actually using OpenAI's ChatGPT model or Claude Opus. It's the underlying LLM that runs inside Microsoft 365 Copilot. If you have a premium license, you just select the individual models and what they're working with. So what happens to data? This is an extremely important slide for everybody to understand. When you are using a free AI, the data that you give it may be stored. It may store your chats in the public trainables. It may allow human review of logs, and is definitely outside your association with retention controls. I think Jay had to leave. What I was going to pick on him, CAMs, if you're experienced, you should understand the difference between may and shall, right? So shall, they want to do it, may, they can do it. But typically the difference between may and shall is if it benefits the holder of the ability, they're going to do it, right? So it benefits them to use the data that you're pumping into it to train their models and to improve. Conversely, with paid corporate AI, it's processed under the same business terms as your 365 package. So I think the security of your email, the security of everything you're sharing, whether you're uploading to SharePoint, or it's Google Workspace, Google Drive, those kind of things, that's protected under the terms of your agreement as a subscriber. The AI that you use with that data is also protected under the same terms. They're not supposed to use it for training their foundation models, and they're supposed to honor their permissions and audits. So one important concept that everybody should understand when you're using AI is your context window. Context window, the best metaphor that you use for this is when you're using a free AI, you have a very small context window. They're given to you for free, they don't give you a lot of resources. And it's equivalent to working from a small desk or maybe a laptop with a single screen. Yes, you get the job done, but at some point, you're going to lose track of data. You're not able to see everything at the same time. So, if you're using Faith AI and I had a Word packet and I was laying a page one by one by one by one on this table right here, at some point, I'm going to have to start placing pages on top of the first page I'm putting out, and I can't see all the data at one time. So if I were to ask a question on the data that's on this table, I can't see the big picture. That's essentially what's happening with the AI, and that's the reason why people are complaining about hallucinations. Prompting it for an answer, and it gives you a shortcut or gives you something that's looking related because it's drawing a conclusion. Conversely, with enterprise-grade AI, specifically as it relates to Microsoft 365, it's capable of pulling context from your entire SharePoint library. So everything you've uploaded to the cloud can be used for the purpose of pulling information and being used to execute the prompt. The thing that is a large conference where multiple people are sitting around the table, you can lay out every page and everybody can see it at the same time. Much more workable workspace. So which data is safe for free AI? Obviously, public, generic data. You've got RFP templates that are freely available out there on the internet. Things like AIA contract, formats, things like that. De-identified, anything that's been scrubbed, or packets that have been confidential information has been pulled away. Sure, you can put it into AI, but I can tell you, you're going to take the time to scrub data from a packet just to put in AI, you're wasting time. Time is money, right? You can always get more money, get more time, you might as well just buy a subscription. Never ever, again, never ever, I should just put this on its own slide. Big red, never ever upload owner account numbers, door codes, bank details, or privileged legal advice into free AI. Don't do it. Bank statements, from the owner, sign-in sheets with their address and their email address, that kind of stuff. Doesn't matter, just don't do it, because when you put it out there, it can be used to improve the AI, and you don't know where that data is going. So, as we start exploring the use of AI in the workplace, one exercise that I want everybody to start doing is reverse prompting. And this is where incorporating free AI into your paid AI subscription is beneficial. You can leverage a complete third-party free AI to help you prompt your paid subscribe AI. And what you would do here is you would state the task, you would say, hey, I want to create a proposal package. You want to tell it to ask questions. What does it need in order to get from point A to point B? You want to tell it to protect the data. It's going to insert placeholders for any account numbers, and then you want it to draft, and then you're going to verify that draft. So in this example, it's going to give you a prompt that you then take into your enterprise AI model, and then that is going to produce your product. You're just using a free AI service to reverse prompt it. And for what it's worth, you can use your paid one as well, but experimenting with free to see what the different outputs is one of those things that scratches my mental brain. High value CAM uses, and that's probably what most people are interested in seeing today. We're going to go over a couple different things: RFP drafting, a board matrix, and then finally a document written. This is going to tickle a lot of the business partners in this room because it's probably going to make your jobs a hell of a lot easier. So, the prompt for an RFP draft outline. If I were to do this, and I do this a lot, I would tell it, I want you to act as a CAM, drafting a neutral RFP outline. The project is, let's say it is an elevator modernization. That's highly topical in our industry right now. The condos on the beach are going through one of these right now. You want to create the scope. I want you to create the bidder instruction. I want you to establish a timeline. Yes, it can establish a rough timeline. You tell it that I cannot have any of this work done between the months of March through October, then it will estimate when this project needs to start based on those metrics. I want you to define the insurance. Do I have insurance agents here? Yeah, this is right reality. So many times you're going to, I'm sure you see all the time, you see associations get involved with a contractor without even having a conversation with you, and now they're missing insurance requirements, right? I want you to flag items for counsel. I want you to flag items for an engineer. So you are not stepping in their stead. That's extremely dangerous, but you're setting the framework to make this a very efficient, easy process for everybody involved. And because you're telling it in advance to flag these items, they're not having to hunt and peck through all this information. All the contractors get the same thing, so you're doing apples to apples, oranges to oranges. And if you want to get extra special on this, you can leverage the information that CAI provides to everybody. CAIonline.org, go to, whether it's the exchange or the resource library, there are best practices from developer turnover to creating budgets. You can tell it to source that information, and it will use that as a guide to produce an RFP request that defines a very clear scope. A bidder package to every one of your contractors is going to easily understand, and it's going to also flag everything that you need your professionals to review. That's super, super important, guys. This reduced what would normally be close to maybe a week of work. We all know we don't sit down and handle something out on the road. We're always being distracted. People are coming in and out of our office. This narrows it down in literally 30 minutes. So what do we do once we get those proposals back from the vendors? Now you got 3 proposals, and hopefully they follow the bidding package, and they provide it to you in a structure that is apples to apples. Well, now you have to get the board of directors ready to make a decision. You have any board members? Okay. So you know, as well as any other board member, that one is a volunteer job, unless you're working on something. I don't know. But anyways, you're always given information last minute, unless your CAM is just stellar, right? And at best, it's the week prior to a board meeting. Well, if you're going through a modernization of an elevator system, there's a lot of content to go over. If you're lucky, you will schedule time for the business partner to come in and do your presentations. But even then, you're going through multiple pages of information that makes it extremely difficult to digest, and even in the best case scenario, and they're all working off the same bidder package, the formatting and how they provide it is just not quick and easy for you to make a sound decision. What you want to do is you don't want to go in and tell your AI, say, act as a can preparing the board decision makers. Compare the 3 proposals for elevator modernization. I want you to use the cost. I want you to use the timeline. I want you to use the warranty. I want you to use the insurance as the basis for the comparison. I want you to create a weighted scoring system. I want you to highlight the assumptions. I want you to highlight any missing info, and I want you to create follow-up questions. Important. Do not recommend a winner. Do not allow the AI to draw a conclusion unless the board weights and sorts facts support it. So sometimes you can just say don't recommend a winner. The board weights it to be like the timing of the season and when it's done, or whether or not, I don't know, it could be a multitude of different things, but there are varying factors that the board of directors may have that would activate to a bid package. Now what you get at the end is a weighted criteria table that identifies any gaps, and it's neutral so the board of directors can take a look at it and say, oh, this is easy. I can pick this vendor. I will want you to approve it. Let's have a discussion. Everybody votes all in favor. Yeah, and you're done. Was that impactful for anybody in this room? Did I just reduce time from your work week? Hopefully, maybe. So another pain point that I find that my CAMs have is when we take on a new client, they have to ingest quite a bit of data. They have to look at the governing documents. They have to do at least the last 12 months of minutes, and they have to know what's going on in order for them to hit the ground running. So what you can do here is you can have your AI act as a CAM knowledge base system. You tell it, I want you to use only the approved declaration. It's important. Only the approved declaration, that you're telling it, I don't want you to pull information that you have available anywhere else other than the ones that I give you. Bylaws, rules, architecture standards, this applies to its minutes. If you want it to be a wiki for the last 12 months of minutes, or even you can go years behind that. You can just give minutes and it'll do the same thing. Create a quick reference pages for what is your criteria? What do you want to know? Do you want a quick reference page for the use restrictions? Do you want quick reference pages for your parametric boundaries? Whatever it is that you know that you're going to need on a regular basis, and you're in that office, and you're going to be caught off guard and answer a question, that's what you want a quick reference page for. Cite, document, section, pages. You want to create hyperlinks to the exact pages of the PDFs and how you can click on those links and take them directly to the document so you can verify this information that's given you. And 2, or the original document, you need to use it as a reference and having a conversation with the person asking the question. If unclear, say so and list legal questions. Again, it's prompting for you to engage your professional, your attorney, so that so you're not blindsided by something. So the output is a plain answer, plain English wiki that provides exact citations to every passage in the government documents or whatever document that you feed into it, and it flags all the uncertainty. CAM oversight rule. So when you're doing these prompts, or any other prompt like that, the oversight that you want to provide is you want to check the facts, you want to check the authority, check the tone, check the practices. So when I went through each one of these examples, they're going to produce a product that reduced the time for you to get to that end result, but you still have to take the time and verify the information that you gave. Anytime you let it invest system. And it may feel like a waste of your time to do this because it's pretty big. But it's not 100%. And you own the duty of care. There's not going to be any time that one of my employees is going to go to the company and say, I'm sorry, I messed up. They're now in this legal line because I told somebody that they could do this, A, B, or C, and it was AI who told me that we could do this. No, that doesn't work that way. All of my team knows they can use it to get from point A to point B faster, but they own point B.
Does anybody have any questions so far? Because we're about to move into the agenda very high. And it's the end of the presentation. No questions so far? Everybody plays over. Everybody's eating from the pizza. So what comes next? Agents. What we're talking about when it comes to agents is so far most people are using AI as a glorified Google search tool. Everybody's going into ChatGPT or whatever it is that you're using and say, hey, how do I do this? Or hey, I need this. And it pops out an output. You look at that output and say, yeah, this flyer looks good for the next event. Or the draft email looks good. I'm going to use this to reply to that owner. Well, what if you can create an agent that has a specific instruction set that works 24/7? Think something that's running in the background at all times, that's monitoring your emails, monitoring the files that are uploaded to your SharePoint, to your workspace, and when a condition triggers, it knows to follow a very specific set of instructions, and then it knows to stop, engage with you, or engage with someone in your company to check the output before you move forward. That's the reality of it. You can establish very customized, very specific workflows that work behind the scenes to automate a lot of business processes that we have all been doing manually. So one of the things that I'm going to be testing in the background is automated board packages. So say for instance, we are managing a property and there are hundreds of emails flowing back and forth, and I'm having a hard time keeping up. We've got a board meeting scheduled for 3 weeks from now, and the president is kind of like baseball, maybe not, be willing to, establish the agenda ahead of time, and it's really allowing you to drive, the narrative. Well, guess what? Based on all those emails that you've collected, you can prompt your agent to skim through all of your emails, determine what was done at the last meeting, what was left not done, looking at the emails and determining if anything had been accomplished in between, establish the next board meeting's agenda, new business, old business. If you have the financials in your emails, it will pull the financials. If there are trends, profit loss trends that need to be identified at the next meeting, it would put that all into board packet. Collect all those PDFs, compile it with the cover sheet, and produce it in a product that you can circulate with the board. That's probably one of the single most time-intensive things that we do as a PCAM. Our board meetings are, if you're lucky, a board of them. Not my neck of the woods. Well, so by the time you're done with one meeting, you have action items, then you got to prepare for the next one. The next one is an official document. We have requirements that just keep growing about what we need to post online and what we need to keep for Florida statutes, and especially when it comes to the acquisition of a client for us. We're taking in documents from a foreign management company. I'm not throwing any shade to anybody here, obviously, but the documents that they are documents that pass through multiple PCAMs and name formats. Well, this is going to be fun. So, okay, let me see if I can figure this out. I might need to just get some help here.
Should you need a few minutes to look at the rest of the
Actually,
video?
Max,
Like pizzas or pasta?
I'm not seeing your camera feed right now. If you'd like me to help by looking at something, you can go ahead and turn on your camera or share your screen. That way I can see what you're referring to and give you more direct assistance.
well, mentally not being able to see. But this is the third time that I've done this. I'm kind of worked out. So can you explain the document of
Our most popular
everybody?
is probably gonna be like our big days with spring. So like big days.
Sure, I can help explain that.
Onions,
The
mushrooms.
official document hub is all about ingesting, curating, and sharing verified governing records in a seamless way. Essentially, it streamlines the process of managing key documents so that everything is accurate and easy to access. This is really helpful in community association management, where keeping track of governing records is crucial. That way, everyone stays on the same page with verified information. It's one of the key workflows that can really make things smoother.
So I've seen, I know I promised I would pay you, but I don't think Lisa is paying me. So your credit zero is going to be zero. What do you think about that?
It sounds like there's some tension around payments. I'm not here to judge or take sides, but I'd suggest having a straightforward conversation with Lisa or whoever is responsible for those funds. Clear communication can help straighten out any misunderstandings. Let me know if you need help thinking through your next steps.
Thanks, Maxine. You've been great. I appreciate it very much. Another So, that's something that I want you guys to think about. When I said that this entire slideshow was created by AI, I think most of you guys gravitated to prompted by time, but you know what to do that. The fact that I've been doing nothing is pacing back and forth and walking back and forth, that's exactly how it works. When I'm in office, that's what I do. I'm just walking back and forth and talking to me. So, probably it's the battery on this microphone. So I'm gonna start wrapping it up. But start thinking about that. Use it as a sounding board for your thoughts, and you'll be really surprised as to what it can possibly do. So what's your 30-day action plan? I want you to pick 3 high ROI operation use cases. I want you to establish strict data boundaries, just like we went through. Build a prompt library. You just copy and paste into a Word document. These are prompts that you've refined over time. Pilot one supervised workflow, prompt it, verify it, revise it, repeat. Prompt it, verify it, revise it, repeat. Eventually you're going to get that is consistent, you and your team can use. This is one that we use all the time at Maxet. Using your knowledge of our company or our property here, NCA best practice. Draft me a procedure my staff can follow for accidental people in the pools, shutting down elevators during a storm, hurricane preparedness plan. It throws it all together for you. All you have to do is then refine it afterwards. What does Gene use the most? And this is where the business partners who email me all the time that I don't ever respond. This is where tears. Sorry, guys. Triage my inbox. Sort into priority folders. Give me today's action items sorted by importance, which means you go down all the way to the bottom to read later. I'm sorry. If I get there, I get there. If you know me, you know where I work. You can stop by any time. Another thing that I love to use is I need clip notes for all emails regarding insert property here, insert project here. Because I'm not reading 120 emails every week on a certain topic. It will give me a summary of what has happened, who has completed what the action items are, and who's going to sign the action. 5 high-impact AI use PCAMs. Inbox triage being another board packet intelligence. Your board packet, throw it into AI, tell it to give you a guide for holding that view. Right, that's powerful. RFP and bid development, we know that. Governing document search, we know that. SOP and staff training, that was the 30-day plan that I think you guys should all explore. Especially with that. If you're doing something more than one, think about having an SOP for it. It needs to be something that's written down that anybody can follow. It needs to be distilled into language that even a monkey can do it, and that's going to create consistency in your operations. And I think I'll end, or get close to ending here, with 5 personal uses, because all work in no way makes Gene a dull boy. I like to use AI for health. So I have a watch, obviously. This thing on my arm, it's constantly monitoring my heart rate, my sleep patterns. I go to the gym, I write down in a log what exercises I do, I upload that to my AI, it compares it to my prior night's sleep, comes my recovery, it's my heart rate, and tells me on the next day I go to the gym exactly what exercises I need to do to optimize my life. Taking the entire mental equation out of the, or mental process out of the equation. Financial organization. You use it to establish your personal budget or determine whether or not you really can or cannot afford that vacation coverage. Right? Travel, life planning, personal learning, personal productivity. These are all things that you can use AI to do in your personal life. So, like I said before, if you want the error-laden slideshow, by all means, scan the QR code. I'll be happy to send it to you. Just email me and I'll send that. I also recorded it. I don't know how the audio is going to work. But at the prior presentations, people were asking for the referral. And okay, it comes up fine. And I'll also upload that in class so everybody can attend. Questions? I'm not a robot. I promise. I'm human, 46 years old, no kids, never married. I think he's a robot, actually. Think about it. You've been made how many times at associations, the owners will come in and go that's for something. It just doesn't work.
I didn't actually know.
So, if there's no other questions, I'm going to go over to Lisa. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you. I really wanted to play Sweet Caroline again, so we could try it again. I don't have that kind of pull. Business partners, if you brought a raffle prize, let's get those together. And speaking of raffle prizes, I did want to address a couple of things about the golf tournament, and it could be that I was distracted, but I didn't hear any conversation about it. So just a reminder, we only have one team left. That is it. And we have 3 sponsorships. We do need some raffle prizes. And all the money that we collect from the raffle prizes is going right to the Bailey Brigade. And it is just a wonderful charity. I get goosebumps every time I talk about it. Well, just show of hands. Who in here has ever had anyone in their life who has had cancer of any sort? Maybe